the terror begins. What if the most chilling horror story you've ever heard wasn't fiction, but a documented descent into a supernatural abyss? Today, we peel back the veil on the Enfield Poltergeist, a case so profoundly disturbing, it continues to haunt our understanding of reality. In August 1977, the Hodgson family believed their modest council home at 284 Green Street, Enfield, North London, was a sanctuary. But within weeks, their lives would collapse into an unrelenting nightmare. What began as faint, rhythmic knocks soon escalated into something far more sinister. This wasn't a movie script. It was the chilling, real-life case that inspired The Conjuring 2. By the end of this story, you'll have to ask yourself, was it the greatest hoax of the 20th century, or undeniable proof that something ancient and malevolent lurks just beyond our sight? It began with beds shaking violently beneath Janet, age 11, and her sister Margaret. Their mother, Peggy, initially scolded them for playing tricks. But then she heard it herself. 3 sharp, deliberate knocks echoing from the walls, a sound that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. The next evening, a heavy wooden chest scraped across the floor, moving on its own until it slammed into the bedroom door, trapping them inside. Peggy's heart froze. An invisible force, a palpable presence was in that room. Panicked, she ran to her neighbors, who stood horrified as chairs shifted and objects clattered with unseen hands. Their fear was so raw, so absolute, they finally did the unthinkable. They called the police. At 1 a.m., Constable Carolyn Heaps walked into what had become a house of horrors. She expected hysteria, perhaps a prank. Instead, she stood frozen as a chair slid 4 feet across the kitchen floor by itself, defying all logic. In her official report, she wrote that the event was not explicable by ordinary means. Imagine being a police officer, trained to confront criminals, yet forced to admit you had just witnessed a ghost. The haunting was no longer rumor, it was officially documented. From that night, Enfield became a battlefield. Toys hurled themselves like weapons. Heavy dressers toppled with unseen force. Cold, unnatural winds rushed through sealed rooms, chilling them to the bone. And always, Janet was the primary target. She was thrown from her bed, dragged by her hair, even levitated before terrified witnesses. At times, she awoke twisted in grotesque positions. Her eyes rolled back, her mouth stretched unnaturally wide, as though another face was trying to push through her skin. It was then the voice came. From Janet's throat, a guttural growl emerged, the voice of a man long dead. He introduced himself as Bill Wilkins, and through Janet's contorted face snarled, "I lived here, I died here, in that chair, in your living room." Later research confirmed his chilling story. A man named Bill Wilkins had indeed died in that very house years earlier. Skeptics argued Janet faked the voice, but doctors insisted no child could sustain such sounds without permanently damaging her vocal cords. Witnesses swore that when she spoke, her face seemed to change, as if the ghost himself was staring back at them. The Society for Psychical Research sent Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair. Over 2 years, they documented over 2,000 terrifying incidents. Photographs captured Janet midair, as if thrown by unseen hands. Recordings caught growls, screams, and the unmistakable rasp of Bill. Journalists came to debunk the story, but many left shaken, pale, admitting they had seen and heard the impossible. Skeptics claim Janet was a clever trickster. A few times she was caught bending spoons or hiding her voice. Years later, she admitted a tiny fraction, about 2%, of the activity was faked. But what about the other 98%? The levitations witnessed by police. The ghostly voice that spoke of a death no child could know. The photographs of her contorted, pale face, eyes blackened, mouth stretched in a scream that did not sound human. No skeptic has ever explained those away. By 1979, the worst of the hauntings stopped. But the echoes of that horror never left. The Enfield case remains the most documented poltergeist haunting in history, inspiring documentaries, books, and Hollywood films. Yet the real story is darker than any movie. Inside 284 Green Street, witnesses swore they faced something ancient, intelligent, and merciless. Even today, the house looks normal. But those who step inside describe an oppressive silence, as if the walls themselves remember the screams. The Enfield Poltergeist stands as a chilling riddle. If it was all fake, how did a child mimic the death of a man she never met? How did multiple police officers, journalists, and researchers witness the same horrors? Perhaps the truth is still locked inside that modest house on Green Street, where a little girl's face once twisted into the mask of a dead man, and the voice of the grave growled for all to hear. So, was it the greatest hoax of the 20th century? Or the most terrifying proof that something waits for us after death? If this chilling tale sent shivers down your spine, don't let the fear end here. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the darkest corners of history and the paranormal. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another terrifying true story. And tell us in the comments, do you believe in the Enfield Poltergeist? Your thoughts might just reveal another piece of the puzzle.